Yeah. Ooh. Total carnage. All right. Gritty shit. That probably be more in line with this game. And for next week, or not next week, Thursday. But this will be a reactionary kind of video. We're going to be looking at the rest of the Gears of War franchise. So let's, because I don't really know. So here we have the games. I've already talked about Gears of War. I talked about the beginnings, the genesis of it, right? And I'm sure it got great reviews. I liked it. I didn't get to play more than like a couple of hours worth of game time. Then there's 2, 3, Judgment, Ultimate Edition 4, Gears Pop. I'll take a look and see what that is. Is that a real game or is it just pop figures? Gears 5 and Gears Tactics. So what I want to do is I want to go through the video game reviews. I have not seen the reviews for all these games. I've actually, in all this time, I have never seen the reviews to any of the sequels in the franchise, just the first game. Because once my Xbox 360 fucking died, my passion died. So I gave up on the Xbox. Rest in peace, Xbox and its future. And so I want to look at all these other games in the line. So I'm just gonna react to this stuff. I have never seen the reviews to these future games that are now the past. Gears Tactics being the last one. I don't know if there's a future for Gears of War. All right, most of these will be like from IGN. I try to look at the most popular videos. So we'll look at 2.
War 2 was first announced nearly a year ago. Cliffy B made the bold statement bigger, better,
this guy.
more badass than Gears 1. At the time, given how beloved the first Gears is, right on the money.
Okay. I like that creature.
That draws you into each conflict. Whereas there was only one Brumac who made a guest appearance in Gears 1, there are now multiple Brumacs to take down one at a time.
Oh my god.
Situations pop up early and often.
Multiple
In the
caves.
sense that what you're doing, that is at the very least touched on in the sequel. The story itself is also much more involved. There was more of a sense of who the cogs are, and special focus was wisely placed on Dom's search for his wife, Maria. Make no mistake, you do still
some story here, some story elements.
As a needed human touch. Nothing radically different about the core cover system, but there have been a number of tweaks and refinements. Diving into cover, proximity grenades, and using core saps as meat shields. These changes and additions all work well. It's nothing earth-shattering, but they do add another layer of depth and strategy. Not only do they physically look different, but there is also a smattering of vehicular levels and engaging. It's like
the outside world in Final Fantasy VII.
Models have been relit, the water looks quick, and is instead more of a graphical dressing. That's a small gripe. As with most Unreal, just stand around like idiots. The way both NPCs and enemies react to cover is also
okay.
Very good,
so you got better men.
Covered when they think they are. In terms of multiplayer, this is a game that's going to be played on Xbox Live for quite some time.
Okay.
I've already talked extensively with one dude flying in the air while still shooting. This is by no means a common occurrence.
Can't be. I mean, that's what patches. I'm sure they had patches back then.
If not a little too standard. Environmental hazards.
You got cowboy hats.
Face a possible 50 waves of locusts. The scope of the game has been expanded, and everything from the amazing music, refined gameplay, and deeper story.
You got creatures. You're riding squids.
This is the Gears that you've been waiting the past 2 years for, and as Cliff so eloquently put it, it's simply badass.
Nah. All right. We'll pause it on that creature's face. So yeah, I mean, that looks good. That looks like an evolution. It's a shame that these games cannot be played outside the Xbox. You need an Xbox 360. I would suggest the Elite, because why the fuck would you want an original Xbox 360? You might as well just like get a Steam Deck and gets like, I don't know what. I don't have any first-person shooters. Yeah, I just better off getting fucking Doom Eternal on Nintendo Switch if you're gonna just like, you know, go back to the original 360. So let's see what the next one is. All right, look at another IGN. This is for Gears of War 3.
Gears of War 3 knows exactly what it is. A badass simulator.
I see. More creatures. Oh, look at that giant creature in the back.
Most definitive third-person shooters going on.
What
Well,
is going
Gears
on?
3 ultimately succeeds, and even though the changes made to the gameplay formula are conservative, and you're going to have to endure more corny storytelling, Gears 3 delivers the most realized expression of the Gears universe today.
Shit, it's Leviathan.
The surface, it easily outperforms its two predecessors. Visuals are crisp, and lighting and smoke effects really bring the world to life.
Alright.
The sound design offers one of the more cohesive combinations of music and sound effects in Marcus Phoenix and Delta Squad's last stand against the Locust. And every
Somebody gets to bang her. If she's in a room full of guys, you know what's going to happen. Unless she's a lesbian.
Things on Sarah have gone from really sucky to really, really sucky, with plenty of drama and lots of surprises for all your favorite giant macho dudes. Crisis,
So,
bad guys just shoot
I don't
at the
really care
ground
too
like
much.
locusts and creatures. There are,
I
of
guess you
course,
gotta
a lot
get to
more
know your-
Carmines, and Marcus
get to know your
Dad is
gears.
alive. What the Epic? The game's not called Gears of War and Peace, people.
So they focus more on story.
Cover works better, and combat's been tightened up overall. Plus, you can kick fools while you vault over cover, which seriously rules. There's a ton of aliens.
So you got a grenade that burrows into the ground.
As well, easily
Of that.
outdoing Gears 2 in both matchmaking performance and new features. There's a
So you get new modes.
version comes with 10-20 hours to complete, depending on what difficulty you play it on, and if you play it with up to 4 players in co-op. I played it both ways, and I definitely recommend playing with friends. Though I will say that the AI is generally better
Oh,
and
that
more helpful
tank.
in a fight than
Was a
most
catapult.
bots you're going to find in any other game. Then the multiplayer
tank.
content alone could keep Gears fans busy until the holidays and beyond. All
Oh shit.
Yes, there's new weapons, new enemies, new multiplayer modes, but it's clear that Epic didn't want to stray from the established path too much.
What's the verdict there?
Fitting and poignant, if sometimes cheesy, closing chapter to the trilogy. My only gripe is the been there, done that feel of much of this content, but it's
So it seems like the second one is probably the better of the first three. It's always like that, isn't it? Kind of like Rise of the Tomb Raider is better than Shadow, and much better than the first Tomb Raider from 2013. Yeah, I mean, I like that you got to ride creatures, and you're doing all kinds of vehicle riding here. So, I guess if Cliff B did the entire trilogy, not the first two, that's amazing stuff. So yeah, I guess you get this one to complete the trilogy. So let's move on. So that looks pretty good. So I think the second one's probably the best of those three from what I saw. All right, a little less popular than this one, but we'll take a look at CGR Undertow. We'll look at their review for Judgment. Oh, shit. Oh, who's this guy?
I mean, they say everything's
Is
numbered.
that Derek? Yep.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not a math guy. But I do know this. When it comes to gaming, numbers are everything. They drive this industry. At times, they also drive our expectations. I mean, Gears of War 3, or Gears of War Judgment.
No, I don't know. I heard 3 was not as good as 2. These guys seem a little left-wing.
There's a kind of inferiority that's almost inherent to a
It's like
spin-off.
John Cooper
So a video
got
game
killed in
series
Southland.
that just sort of bridges the ones with numbers. Fair or not, they're often viewed as the stopgaps.
Oh my
The
God.
snack between meals. The gas station.
These guys are a little too soft for Gears of War
Sometimes
here.
They have everything the main event has, with the lone exception of a number. Sometimes.
I like this guy. Oh, shit.
Gears of War 3 wrapped up the original trilogy in a way most people seem to be happy with. But with the next proper, numbered Gears of War release still over the horizon, that meant the Xbox 360 might not even get another Gears of War game. And since money drives the industry just as much as numbers do, well,
Yes.
that simply would not suffice. Ergo, Detour, Bag of Chips, Gas Station, Gears of War Judgment. Sweet ball pit. That's because Judgment's actually an interesting concept. It's a prequel, but it focuses on secondary characters rather than doing the obvious in delving into the Marcus Phoenix backstory.
Marcus
Events unfold
Phoenix.
via flashbacks. We're allowed to play out some of the major moments in these characters' histories. In fact, there's also an additional campaign.
Except you don't give a shit about these
simultaneously
characters.
To the events of Gears of War 3.
Do you care about these guys at all?
A game with secondary characters, you're making a game with secondary character appeal.
Yep.
It's like playing a Mario game as Toad. You know, there's a reason that
We got
only
Captain
happens in
Toad.
multiplayer. And for a game that's entire concept is story-driven, that's sort of an inherent problem. And unless you're a hardcore fan, it's really hard to care all that much. Tweaking of a great formula. Start with the same Resident Evil 4 derived cover and shoot gameplay, only this time let people swap weapons with Y and throw grenades with a shoulder button. I mean, seriously, that's about the only mechanical changes that were made for Judgment. It's just more Gears of War. And really, that's all it needs to be. Structural changes. For example, there are these glowing logos in each level. They basically give you the option of playing through the level differently, either by changing the objective or the rules. And those are a really clever way of adding variety to a game that can certainly get repetitive. And there's also new multiplayer modes to complement the favorites. Still, the whole time you're playing, you can't help shake the feeling that this is just Gears of War 3.5. The whole experience has this feeling that, much like its characters, feels secondary. And hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing if all you're looking...
Well, Derek is wrong. Numbers aren't everything. I mean, he's criticizing about numbers, and I'm like thinking, no, it's you can make a number of anything, and we've all seen our bad sequels. We have our sequelitis. So yeah, it's more the same, but a little less or a little more, depending on how you look at it. Because do you give a shit about these characters? I think it's the ingredients. Okay, you have to have the mayo, the mustard, the right vegetables, the right texture for the yakisoba noodles. Whatever you're making, whether you're making a lasagna, what kind of cheese are you making? Cottage cheese. What kind of, is it sausage? What kind of tomatoes are you using? It matters that you care about the characters. It matters that you care about the world. If it's just more of the same, then what the fuck you care about? So yeah, this one looks like a little disappointing. It might be about above average to average if you're looking at it from the point of view of, here was that first game, but then the second one was better. And then the third was okay, but then you get to this one. All right, what's the next one? Okay, we'll look at the Ultimate Edition from IGN.
Or Ultimate Edition feels, which is odd considering the original game is 9 years old. When it came out in 2006, Gears was the best-looking game on the Xbox 360. Its cover mechanics felt great, and its multiplayer... By its nature as a remaster, Gears of War Ultimate Edition shares that same great vision. Plus, it still looks and feels excellent. Everything about Gears is loud, clear, and simple. It's one of the most involved, attentive games...
Xbox One graphics.
People called locusts have emerged from beneath the planet's surface and started killing everyone. You are Marcus Phoenix, a tree trunk of a man freed from prison because humanity needs the soldiers. So, our four main heroes are overflowing with style. They are the brilliant.
Yeah, the polygons look a lot better.
Into their chainsaw. Guns roar with power, and bullets really do hurt. A shotgun at close range will turn you into bloody beef slabs in no time. Gears, one control problem from the original still exists. The A button does too much work. You press it to run, you press it to roll, you press it to take cover, to vault over cover.
Just one button to do everything.
Cover to the next. It's include one of the best action sequences in the game. If you don't know about the big surprise, do yourself a favor and don't look it up. In King of the Hill, to the collection of modes.
So they add new multiplayer.
Its 20 maps keep the game from feeling stagnant and offer a variety. Still makes Gears great today. It's a beautiful game with smart cover mechanics, great core combat, and commitment to an over-the-top tone. It occasionally shows signs of age, but those moments are rare enough that you'll barely remember you're playing a remaster.
Yeah.
If you haven't jumped into the series yet, or simply need a refresh...
So you just look at this helicopter alone. Yeah, it looks much more polished. I mean, this is something for anybody who has an Xbox One. So, yeah. So far, so good. We have, what, three more left to look at here? So this is 4. Cuatro. Let's see how this one is.
An iconic but now aged hero plays a prominent role. comforting old fans and tugging on their nostalgic heartstrings for much of the story, while passing the torch to a new generation of heroes.
Okay.
The story follows many of the same recognizable beats of the tale that started it all, and by the end, you've been on a great ride that is both familiar and new at the same time.
All right, time to introduce the new cog to the old cog, and clear these bucketheads out of my house.
Sure.
Let's do this!
It's Old Snake, Solid Snake.
Gears of War game, and J.J. Abrams' Star Wars Episode 7. Gears of War is set 25 years after the events of the original trilogy, with Marcus Phoenix playing the Han Solo mentor role.
I guess more than Metroid Prime 4, right?
Jay's longtime friends Kate and Del sub in for Rey and Finn.
Oh, shit.
Parallels to Gears. In the campaign, the new DB robot enemies and Saren swarm foes attack differently than their Lucas predecessors, thus requiring welcome new offensive and defensive strategies to combat them. Their common denominator is that they integrate nicely into the established universe alongside the familiar Lancer and friends, both in campaign and multiplayer. The Buzzkill gloriously insta-gives foes when its saw blades hit their targets. The Overkill packs a wicked, if short-range, double same jaw-dropping punch the original did, but that's no insult. Its most graphically impressive moments are tied to the weather, with flares producing swirling dust, swaying trees, and dancing foliage.
What?
Smartly, the heavy winds actually affect weapons with slow-moving ammo, such as the Buzzkill.
I see.
Whose shots will arc such that they become
maybe this should have been the prequel.
At their normally reliable medium range.
Oh, shit.
That hasn't changed with Gears of War 4. Both Versus and Horde, like campaign, have evolved rather than been reinvented, with predictably fun results. Nation or territories in other games, on the other hand, simply drags on far too long as a best of 13 round duel.
This is like any gotcha multiplayer battle royale.
Is once again trees, turrets, and more as you fight through 50 waves of DB and swarm foes. Fine as well. I never expected to compare Gears of War 4 to The Force Awakens, but I couldn't be happier to do so. It's about as good of a franchise reawakening as I could have hoped for. J.J. Abrams would no doubt appreciate...
Stop comparing it to J.J. Abrams. So, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look exactly feel like Gears of War. I think the best... Well, obviously, from what I could see, yeah. You know, it's different, but I guess there hasn't been a bad pizza yet. So what are the other ones? Let's see. I think Gears of War pop review. Let's see what happens if I press enter. Can I? Can I press enter? What the fuck is going on? Things break. The buttfuckery of my tablet. Let's go. Last Christmas. Okay. So, can we get in focus? I don't like when things don't want to work. Like, I did the thing. Do what I tell you and work. Okay. Pocket Gamer Review. What is this shit? Let's find out. This is...
Quick question.
What is that? Is this like XCOM? What is that?
We don't understand who thought
Ew.
would be a good fit to mix in our hands, and we're forced to ask, does this combination actually work? Gears Pop is a strategy-like game, where you send out slow-paced units to fight against other slow-paced units in online PvP battles, and, very occasionally, a co-op encounter against a boss NPC. There are men on the tried and tested formula we've seen in dozens of games before.
Loot boxes, looter shooter. It's a looter shooter. This looks like a pinball table. Why don't they just make Gears of War pinball?
With different units having different quirks. Someone to get to the next. The rhythm of the game is battle, earn chests, use pins to upgrade your characters, gain experience, rinse and repeat.
This is like F-Zero 99.
Because battling online, decent interpretation.
Yeah, I'm sure Cliffy B approved of this shit.
But even fans of the genre might get put off once that content gate slams shut on their wallets.
Okay, this is the one I kind of remember. I think this is the one that was a lot of trouble. I don't know if it was woke or not. Guess we're going to find out, aren't we? So we'll look at the final review. Looks like Gears of War. Yeah. There you go. Oh, that's not all that bad.
Gears 5 managed to pleasantly surprise me, both in terms of its gameplay and its story. For a series that's now 6 total entries deep, that's impressive. The Coalition pulled it off by taking the time to develop its trio of young heroes beyond the foundations established in Gears of War 4, and having the guts to alter the course of the series in a way I didn't expect. And while...
Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's real ugly out there.
Gears of War may have initially thrived because it refined and helped revive the third-person cover shooter, but it has survived for a much less obvious reason. It has heart. From Dom's search for his wife Maria in the first 2 games, to the breaking of a bond in Gears of War 3, to the passing of the torch to a new generation of Gears last time out, this series matters because its characters make you care. Gears 5 is no different, and the consequences...
Miranda.
By a ravening pack of pea-brain dogs. Is this how you intend to go out?
Gears 5's veritable horde of multiplayer modes is the best package the series has delivered yet. The excitement of additions like the new chaotic arcade verses and the unpredictable escape maps mixes with timeless classic thrills like getting awesome Nasher kills, to take out enemy leaders in verses, and claiming close victories in Horde. It all refines and expands upon the series' already diverse range of ways to play. You and your friends can still have a great time anyway.
The final verdict.
It's not surprising at all that Gears 5 is an excellent third-person action game. This iconic series has never really had a misfire.
Doesn't seem like Gears of War to me.
Original developer Epic to the Coalition, and the hot streak remains unbroken. What was unexpected is just how effectively...
So what I can see is that it seems to play well enough, but it doesn't feel like Gears of War anymore. The first 3 had a point. Ultimate Edition fixed it, made it look polished. 4 didn't look... I mean, I don't know. This is what is it? This is 5, right? So I don't know. 4 looked less. 5 brought it back, right? And 4 looks like they went out into the Fallout universe. They went out into the Fallout for the Wildlands. You know, I mean, just the New California. There's no buildings. You have to have the buildings. You have to have the wrecked cars. If they went to Las Vegas to do their shooting, you know, like just think of the most popular cities, right? You go to Russia. You could do your Gears of Warring there. I mean, just different places, different locales. The Wild West creativity, Cliffy B, is gone, I think. Oh, here we go. Last one, everyone.
Given the life or death dependency on taking...
Oh, this is top-down. It's like XCOM.
Long-running series better suited to sidestep from third-person shooter into XCOM-style turn-based tactics.
Yeah, of course they were going to do that.
With a more focused approach to the genre, but most of those fights are rewarding puzzles with fantastically polished graphical payoff.
We got another prequel to Gears of War here.
The impressively animated cutscenes fill in a few gaps from the pre-Outsiders Diaz family.
Oh wow, look at those graphics.
His father Gabriel never really comes into his own as a memorable main character. In part, that's because he was fed up with COG's corrupt leadership.
No Marcus, no Gears.
Friction between your team members never amounted. Gabe leads a squad of up to 4 Gears into battle against a substantial lineup of recognizable Locust enemies. They all have distinct and interesting abilities to counter, including some that automatically attack if you get too close, and some who abilities, and it's great. Where things get really interesting, though, is when you start chaining together abilities from the 5 different classes that grant you additional action points. You may only ever have 4 troops at once, but when they really get going, they can feel like an army.
Yeah.
Here we go!
No matter where you move or what you do, Gears Tactics really does look spectacular, nearly up to par with Gears 5 itself. Occasional bit tedious after a while, though, because the UI isn't awesome and you're encouraged to swap stuff frequently.
Affirmative!
On the battlefield, permadeath is in play, but only sort of. Sure, you can lose a disposable soldier, but if a hero character gets their head caved in, that's the ballgame. So it's pretty difficult to actually fail a mission and be forced to accept 4 casualties. And even if you do lose troops, really
I would have gone for the pinball table.
Whittle away at its health and bat down its minions. That you're free to keep doing these missions after completing the story. It might have made more sense to wrap the plot up about 10 hours earlier.
Don't bother. Hasn't moved in 2 hours.
Gears Tactics is an excellent turn-based tactics game that does a fantastic job of melding Gears' famous style and action as replayable as its tactical role model. Even so, it's an excellent campaign that leaves a great impression with some
I see. Well, let's wrap this shit up.
Check out our rundown of tips and
1992 to 2012. So, his career. After 20 years with the company, Cliff announces departure from Epic Games on October 3rd, 2012, saying he had been making video games since he was a teen and wanted to take a break. According to a 2015 interview, his original intention was to retire permanently. I honestly thought I was done. It was a combination of games, feeling jaded, as well as working with some very talented people who had also been very jaded. He told Destructoid Blazinski, Cliff Blazinski. I could pitch the most amazing idea to anybody back when I was at Epic toward the end, and they'd be like, I don't buy it. So then he came out of retirement for Boss Key, and let's see, what did he do after Gears? Did Super Hot, as Vinny would say. Lawbreakers, Radical Heights got canceled. Oh, his last game got canceled. So there's supposed to be a movie coming out. Is that in development hell? Might be. So nothing after it. 2022 November, the film entered development for streaming on Netflix, who will collaborate. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. So it seems that the best games were the first three games, or the 1, 2, and 3. I would say, okay, I'm not going to look at anybody's comments. I'm not going to look at the Reddits. I'm not going to even look at the comments for the reviews. I want to see if anybody tells me the truth. Do you think that 2 was the best of those series? Because it looked like it was. I would say 2 and Ultimate Edition of 1 are the best ones are the only ones you need. Like 3 might be okay, but you don't really need it. Like once they got into the sappy, slightly woke, slightly progressive, watered down romantic aspects of the story, it's like ugh. It's like you took away how cool John Cooper was from Southland, right? The cop TV show, and then you put in the rookie, right? You put in Nathan Fillion, and then we want to see what Nathan Fillion's up to with his partner and all the love stories from the other characters. Like, no, we don't give a shit about those. We want to see Ben McKenzie and Michael Cudlitz. We don't want to see these other guys. That's what this feels like. But more importantly, the gameplay is repetitive after 2 and 3. So I say 2 is the best one. That squid thing amazed me. Second one was it. That was the GOAT, I think. So that's it for Gears of War. We'll probably look at some concept art later on. But for Thursday, we'll look at a fan film.